It's no secret that the weather's starting to turn, so I think you'll be thinking of doing a few winter road trips. And what better than in this week's car, the BMW M440i Gran Coupe. When they brought out these brand new M Coupés, so it used to be easy to understand BMWs. The 1, the 3, the 5, they were 4 doors, or in the one's case, a 5-door. The 2, the 4, the 6, the 8, they were all 2 doors. But now they've got 4-door coupes, of which this is one. And I'm going to deal with the most controversial bit first, and that's the front end. And I have to admit, I'm not a fan. I mean, look at it. If you look inside this complex grille, you'll see that there's shutters and then a solid bar. I think they'd been better off having this solid bar body coloured, or just something to break up this massive expanse. There's some sensors down below, and right above the front camera there's dip down in the kidney grille. The most striking part of the front are these laser lights. Look at them. But nonetheless, I think this front takes a little bit of getting used to. Because I've got it activated when I come anywhere near the car, it unlocks itself for me. You can also lock and unlock using these little divots in the door handles. Now, this is one of the problems that this car has, and that is these door handles. You can see that that pulls up, but it comes up so far that it's very, very easy to kind of, I don't know, it's just the worst design, and it would have been much better if they didn't hinge at all, if they just unlocked an electric button. The rear of this all-wheel drive 4-door coupe, I think, is a little more successful. It's got a myriad of badges across the back, the all-wheel drive X-Drive badge, M440 badge, and as long as you've got the key in your pocket, you can kick to open the hatchback, and that's the important thing. This is a hatchback. It's got a close or a close and lock button, and inside some various storage solutions behind a net, a bag hook, 12-volt outlet, and a toolkit. Now remember, this doesn't have a spare under the flat floor, but this boot is fairly generous, and the seats go down 40, 20, 40. The interesting part of the luggage cover is part of it is on the rear hatch. The rest is here. But I do have to scrunch down a bit to get my head in. And I've got a slightly dodgy back, as you do when you reach that certain age. When you get in, it is quite comfy. It's cozy, it's black on black. There are a couple of USB-Cs in the back, another zone of climate control, some outlets. But this tombstone headrest makes it a little bit claustrophobic when you consider how low this roof is. Now, of course, this is a little bit lower because it's got a sunroof, but you know, nonetheless, that's what you've got to duck down to get out of. But I've got this cute little opera window behind. There's airbags all around. Altogether, it's not really a bad place to be. Now, getting in the front, a little bit easier than getting in the back. And the one thing I wanted to point out was this. Once you start the car, if the door is open just a little, you'll notice that the blue line goes red and it starts to flash. You can see just there is the heads-up display. Doesn't show up very well on camera, but there it is. The 10-point, I think it's 25-inch screen here in front, and those funny flashing lights are the driver monitoring system. There's cup holders and a Qi charger. The BMW single-touch storage buttons. Best thing since sliced bread. That's the audio zone, this is the climate zone, and this is the entertainment zone. And helped with the entertainment zone is the command center. Along with that, here is the button that you're going to want to press occasionally, and that's the automated parking button. Brings up the parking assist. I'll show you that in a tick. Once you get used to where all these buttons are, this thing is quite easy to use. This is a touch screen, but honestly, you're really just better off ignoring that and using the command center below. Now, I've got this plugged in here because that's the only place it will plug in. There's not enough power from this USB. I had to use this BMW 12 volt adapter. The materials, beautiful quality. Look at those seats, and this little bit in the front is manually adjustable. There's tons of blue stitching. The steering wheel is nice and easy to use. That's the cruise control zone, and that's the audio zone, including the voice control button. And I mentioned the laser lights out front. They're those fancy matrix ones that they mask oncoming traffic in a pool of limpid light. We took this for a drive the other night. They work really well. And of course the front seats do have electrical adjustment, and the buttons are down here, including one for lumbar support and the side bolsters. You can set some memories here on the doors, and there's these tasteful metallic switches. And of course the rear hatch opener. As in all BMWs, you've got to pull this button twice to open the front. Before we set sail, you can see the rear view is kind of limited. This is one of those cars that would really benefit from one of those kind of nifty roof-mounted rear cameras. Give the gear lever a pull back. Indicators on the left-hand side, of course, because it's a European car. A little bit of a tug in the seatbelt. That does sound wonderful. Now, I did a little bit of a trip on the highway yesterday. Here's a bit of it. Oh, lovely. 0 to 100, 4.6 seconds or thereabouts. The all-wheel drive system is excellent. I've left this automatic doing its own thing. You can use the paddle shifters if you want, and you can see up in the heads-up display, I've got my display up. Got it down here in the driver's instruments as well. By God, this thing is near psychic. Big 19-inch wheels. Changes direction. Look at this, like a cat on carpet. Look at that. Absolutely magnificent. But then they say BMW is sheer driving pleasure. Despite that gaping grille, it still is. All of the lane control system has turned itself off. I can turn that back on when I get on the highway. But you can see it's handling these corners as if it was on a racetrack, and it really wants to be on a racetrack. It certainly makes it feel like it's got plenty of poke. And remember, the M has another 100 kilowatts. So the M440i xDrive is not to be confused with the M4 or the 4M Coupe or M4 Coupe, whatever the hell it is these days. But I will say, in comfort mode, this suspension is very nice, very limo-esque. And considering this is a BMW, I'd expect no less. Back in the old days, before there was adaptive suspension, the ride was like being on a barbecue covered in a blanket going down a cobbled street. It was absolutely awful. I think it'd be a mistake to write this off as a middle-age crisis car. It's definitely something that's aspirational. Is it more practical in the 3 Series? No. No, it's not more practical in the 3 Series. 3 Series has more space in the back. But this 285 kilowatt hybrid system, mild hybrid system, is a killer, no matter what car it's in. And you can see from the experience on those windy roads in the mountains how brilliant this is in corners. I never trust this active cruise control in traffic. I've always got my foot hovering above the brake pedal. It's like, just don't trust that it's going to see the car in front and pull up. But this car is still driving itself. I'm not touching anything. Hovering, yes, but not touching. The uptake when it sees the cars in front take off is very gentle. And unlike most cars, this won't go into standby mode. It'll just sit there until the car in front moves off, and then it'll move off too. So if it was at a crossing and someone started to cross the crossing in front of you, you'd have to put your foot on the brake. And also, it is just reacting to the car in front. It's not reacting to lights. So if you do see traffic lights, yes, you will have to stop. And that is all this week from BMW's M440i Gran Coupe. Beautiful, beautiful on the road. Worth every penny if the drive is what you're focused on. If it's rear space, probably not so much. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and over there to subscribe.